Hi, welcome to the Healing Trauma with Hypnosis mini course. I'm Courtney Armstrong. I'm founder of the Institute for Trauma-Informed Hypnotherapy. I'm also author of the book, The Therapeutic Aha, and I've been a licensed professional counselor for over 20 years and a certified clinical hypnotherapist for 15 years. And even though I've been trained in EMDR and a lot of other trauma therapy methods, hypnosis is still my preferred tool when it comes to healing trauma, and more important, my clients love it. You can use hypnosis to calm the nervous system, but you can also use hypnosis to uplift and empower your clients beyond the trauma and help them reinforce the changes that they want to make in their lives. Moreover, research has shown that when you incorporate hypnosis into other therapies like CBT, it actually increases their effectiveness. So I think you'll get a lot out of the course today. In this first video, you'll learn what hypnosis is, why it's a great tool for treating trauma, the brain science behind it, and a simple induction that you can use right away. So what is hypnosis? I know there's a lot of scary definitions out there about what hypnosis is, as if it's getting into some kind of passive mental state where someone can get in and control your mind, but that's simply not what we're talking about here. Hypnosis or trance states are essentially when we narrow our attention down to a single element of an experience and deepen our absorption in it. It's usually a pleasant experience, and I guarantee you and your clients have been in it before. So when you've been really absorbed into a good book or a good movie and everything else around you kind of fades into the background, so if your phone rang, it would kind of startle you and pull you out of the experience. That's a trance state. Daydreaming is a form of trance. Getting lost in a rhythmic sound or movement can take us into that state. And meditation is a form of trance. But PTSD is like a bad trance. That's what one of my mentors, Bello Hanlon, said about it. And when you think about it, that's exactly what it is. The client's attention has been narrowed and absorbed into their traumatic images, bodily sensations, and feelings of helplessness, shame, or rage to the point that they're having trouble accessing other experiences or even the present moment. So when we talk about using hypnosis to treat trauma, here's a simple definition that I use. Clinical hypnosis is the process of guiding the client's attention towards a desired emotional state with suggestions that enhance their ability to change their internal experiences for the better. And as we go along, you'll see that I see it as a very collaborative process. So you and the client together will be determining what kind of suggestions will work for them. Now, there's a lot of empirical support for hypnosis, actually. I'm just going to list a few of the studies here. For example, Barabats and Barabats have done a few studies that have actually demonstrated hypnosis is very effective for treating PTSD in placebo-controlled studies. Gruzelier, Miltner, and Weiss have found that hypnosis inhibits areas of the brain that are associated with negative judgments and negative evaluations of pain signals. Ernest Rossi has actually demonstrated recently that hypnosis leads to neurogenesis and neuroplasticity in the brain in controlled studies, so that's really exciting. And there's been a lot of studies that show hypnosis increases the effectiveness of other therapies. For example, Kirsch, Montgomery, and Saperstein showed that hypnosis increased the effectiveness of cognitive behavioral therapy. Now, hypnosis is not a new treatment for healing trauma. Psychiatrist Pierre Genet used it extensively back in the 19th century with good results. He viewed trauma as a dissociated memory network that continued to interfere with the person's ability to take effective action in the present. He emphasized using hypnosis to integrate a new positive experience into the memory. And you're going to find out that Genet was exactly right, even though he didn't have access to some of the neuroscience technology we have today. So let's talk a little about that. Trauma in the brain. When something traumatic happens, of course, the amygdala sets off the fight, flight, freeze response to help us mobilize a survival response. When adrenaline is released during that process, it encodes the felt part of the memory and any actions we took to try to survive the memory into our lower brain areas as an implicit procedural memory that can get activated anytime we encounter anything similar. The other thing that happens during the fight, flight, freeze response is that cortisol is released. Cortisol inhibits our higher brain areas. So what essentially happens is that we have this felt part of the memory in the lower brain areas, and even though we might acquire insight or new information later, it doesn't get linked up to that original memory. Hypnosis actually promotes integration between the emotional brain and the rational brain. When we slow down our breathing and focus our attention in a way that calms the nervous system, information can flow more freely through these areas. In other words, we don't have all that adrenaline and cortisol interfering with things. So when we can integrate what we have felt emotionally or experienced emotionally with what we know rationally, it gives us an opportunity to put those emotional experiences into a more adaptive context. Bessel van der Kolk calls these areas the mohawk of self-awareness because it's also where we derive our sense of self. Bessel van der Kolk also says that it's likely hypnosis in some form will make a comeback because it can induce a state of relative calm from which patients can observe their traumatic experiences without being overwhelmed by them. Now you might be saying to yourself, well now Courtney, that sounds a lot like guided meditation. What's the difference? Well, hypnosis and guided meditation are actually very similar. Both involve focused attention and enhanced inner awareness. Both evoke similar neural patterns in the brain, but meditation emphasizes observing inner experiences non-judgmentally, and hypnosis goes one step further by providing suggestions that help clients access their imagination and actually change internal experiences. So, are you ready to experience it yourself? Allow yourself to get comfortable. And as you listen to the sound of my voice, you can focus on this image on the screen or look up and find a spot on the wall or ceiling where you can gently focus your gaze for a few moments. And as you focus on that spot, you might notice more details about the way it looks. Perhaps noticing various lines or shapes of the object. Or maybe you can see different shades of light or shadows reflecting off of it. Or colors or movement that you didn't notice before. The object may come in and out of focus or seem blurry at times, and that's normal. As your eyes get adjusted to focusing in this interesting, curious way. And as you're focusing on that spot, you could be aware of background sounds or catch your mind wandering, or wonder if you're doing it right or what you'll experience next. And that's okay. You're in full control of this experience, so you can just let your conscious mind wander as you bring your awareness back to focusing on that spot or image, and wonder what else you can discover that you didn't quite notice before. And I don't know if you've already decided to close your eyes or if your eyelids will begin to feel heavier or fatigued or blink more frequently. But what I do know is that every time your eyes blink, they close. And when they close, they rest, so you can rest. And if you're ready to rest even deeper, you can let your eyelids rest all the way down now. And enjoy taking this little break for yourself. And with your eyes resting closed, you can bring your awareness to your breath. Noticing you can breathe a little bit slower and deeper than you normally breathe. And on your next inhalation, you're welcome to take an even deeper breath, gathering up any unwanted tension and then releasing it with the exhale. That's right. Every breath gives you an opportunity to let go. Just breathing in, gathering up the tension, and imagine releasing anything you no longer want or need with an exhale. releasing any tiredness or discomfort, worry, frustration. All of it can be sent away for now with the breath. Imagining it all melt, melt, melt. Dissolve, dissolve, dissolve. Clearing the way for you to bring in more of what you want. And you can do that now on your next inhalation. Imagine breathing in a quality you'd like to expand within yourself. It could be healing, peace, confidence, or even vital life energy. Whatever you like. Your inner mind will evoke the quality that is best for you today. Just breathe it in and imagine it expanding and circulating throughout your body and mind. Knowing that just intending it awakens it. You might even imagine this quality as a light, color, or energy stream that you can breathe in and send to any area of your body and mind that can benefit. Just breathing in this special quality and energy and let it ease, calm, and soothe you. Knowing this energy is now expanding within you and will be much more accessible and available to you. And it will get stronger every time you practice this. As it clears out fear and tension and replaces it with love, confidence, nurturing, encouragement. Just take in anything that would feel good to you right now. And knowing you can do this for yourself, you can take another deep breath and bring this quality back with you as you find your way back here. Letting each breath refresh and restore you as you gently open your eyes, perhaps stretching and readjusting as you fully awaken and come back here to this video course. Perhaps feeling more at ease and excited about what else you'll learn here today. Hello and welcome back. I hope that you had a good experience and that maybe you got some new insights and ideas. As you probably noticed, that induction started out feeling probably to you like a guided mindfulness meditation, but where meditation or mindfulness meditation diverges from hypnosis is hypnosis goes beyond that initial process of focusing and absorbing our attention into something to providing suggestions that elicit a desired response or a new perspective or a new experience. And we frame in word suggestions in a way that speaks to the emotional brain. We used to call it the subconscious back in the day. But what the subconscious actually is that emotional part of the brain. The part of the brain McLean referred to as the reptilian brain and the mammalian brain. It thinks like an animal, so it learns like an animal. It doesn't understand verbal language, or at least verbal reasoning. It only understands about 5 words or less. And it only learns through experience, association, and repetition. So you'll notice that hypnotic suggestions are worded in a way that elicits a felt experience. We use sensory-based language, we use metaphors, we use imagery. We also tell stories and help clients link new associations together. And you'll notice that we repeat certain concepts or certain ideas, because this is the way that the emotional brain can harness a new learning. That's why I love using it for trauma, because we're going right directly to that area where the emotional memory's been stored, and giving it a contrasting new experience. Hypnosis is generally a very safe treatment. You can even use it with children. But before we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a little story where hypnosis went wrong. And I'm leaving you with this story because, one, I hope it will help you avoid something that happened to me. But secondly, it's one of the reasons why I feel so strongly about doing this training for people. After my first hypnosis training, which was done by a very reputable organization that certifies doctors, surgeons, dentists, and psychologists and therapists, I encountered a man who booked a session for smoking cessation. Now, at that first hypnosis training that I went to, it was a beginner training, so we only focused on basic inductions and how to use hypnosis to help people calm anxiety, stop smoking, and lose weight. We didn't talk about trauma. So this gentleman comes to me. He's very friendly. He seems very smart, stable. I didn't do a full mental health protocol on him because I didn't seem relevant. And all we really focused on in the intake were his smoking habits and his goals. But when I started to do the hypnosis, I used a protocol that I got at the training. And it was basically a script that described the beach and how to use the beach and the ocean to not only help the client relax, but as a metaphor that we were going to use later in the script to help them stop smoking. So I'm following this script and protocol, and just when my client starts to look like he's relaxing, he suddenly gets this horrible grimace on his face and opens his eyes wide, and he's like, I got to get out of here. What had happened is he went to Vietnam. I didn't know it, but he was a Vietnam veteran. So when I'm describing palm trees and the sand and the ocean, he went to Vietnam. Now, he and I managed to get him present and to help him recover from that experience. But since that time, it's made me feel very strongly about teaching people how to heal trauma from the get-go in a hypnosis course, which is why I want to just put this out there. And the type of hypnosis protocol that I'm going to be teaching you will minimize the risk of anything like that happening to you. First of all, we're not going to be using hypnosis to regress a client to a memory so that they can change it. We're going to be using hypnosis in a collaborative way that resources the client. And I'm going to emphasize how to be collaborative with it, because when you collaborate with the client, they're going to be sharing metaphors, imagery, and ideas that work for them. And you're going to, before you even start doing hypnosis, know what to avoid and what's going to really resonate with them. The other thing that's really important that I'm going to be teaching you is that you want to resource the client first. I know in my EMDR training and some other trainings, I was taught to help the client relax, maybe with some imagery or hypnosis, or to go to a safe place, but that's really not enough to keep the client from abreacting. The key is to help the client connect to a resourceful state first, so that they feel more calm, secure, and present, but also empowered and strong and creative, resilient, self-compassionate before we even revisit any kind of material from the traumatic experience. So that's what we're going to be talking about in the next video. So thanks for being here today. In video number 2, we're going to be focusing on memory reconsolidation. So I'm going to be going deeper into how to elicit a resource state from your clients prior to talking about any traumatic experiences, and more specifically, how to link that new resource state to the old memory and network. That's basically what neuroscience calls memory reconsolidation. I'm going to give you a 5-step protocol that will help you reconsolidate a traumatic memory without re-traumatizing your client. Now, if you've been to trainings with me before, or read the Therapeutic Aha, you might say, oh, I know what that protocol is. But please come back, because I've updated it and I've got some new material. So you'll definitely want to be in on that. Thank you for being here today. We should release the next video in this series within the next 1 or 2 days. We'll be sending you an email to let you know when that's available. And if you want more information or have questions in the meantime, you can visit me at CourtneyArmstrong.net. There's resources there like articles and recordings, as well as a contact box if you need to contact me before then. Thanks, and have a great day.